You are listening to Unequaled with Jaycee Carroll and Ajay Salveson. But first, our friends, the Painted Roses.
Welcome to the Unequaled podcast. Once again, episode 14. Jaycee Carroll and Ajay Salveson, the Aggie Hall of Famer, joining the not Hall of Famer. Thanks for joining us, however, wherever you're doing so. Painted Roses welcome us in. Appreciate them. And the Boat & Co., where we're doing our podcast at. Beautiful place, 1835 North Main Street. Larry Bradley runs the show here. He's a big Aggie fan. He's a big men's basketball fan, which is why our next guest was in there chatting away with Larry. I'm sure he was asking you all the questions, he needed to get all the info. He actually he's the one showing Coach Calhoun his new house. So, yeah, cool. He is a diehard Aggie fan, so big thanks to Boat & Co. taking care of us today. Joining us today also is Fish, who we still never got a clear explanation on why he's called Fish. But Isaac Johnson, who has been everywhere, including Oregon, and had a very short visit to the Spectrum when they played each other in the NIT tournament, and got a technical for it as well.
Oh, yeah. Trying to keep that on the down.
Shulga flopped away, didn't he? Earned Isaac a technical. Isaac Johnson joins us here on Unequaled. Isaac, thanks for joining us, man. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm excited to be here.
It's great, man. We're excited to have you. Your journey to American Fork to play high school basketball has been something. Where did it start? When did it start? It tells about how you got to American Fork.
Okay. So, my dad is from Idaho Falls and my mom is from Northern Washington. And my dad played basketball at Utah State 1 year before his mission, 1 year after, and then transferred to Snow College, where my parents met. And from there, my dad got his bachelor's in education and became a Spanish teacher in a small town in eastern Oregon called Issac. It's like 3,100 people, farming community, a lot of onions and beets. So it's a really good place if you give it a chance.
Dwight Schrute would love that place.
Oh yeah. Oh my! There's a sugar beet factory there, and there's one stoplight, so it's a great spot.
Bears, beets.
Better start to collect. From now on, we're gonna if there's not one office reference per episode. From now on, we just got this one in.
There we go.
That's true.
Sorry, go ahead.
So, my dad then got his master's in education and became an elementary school vice principal, and then eventually a head principal, and got his doctorate. And he had served his mission in Barcelona, Spain, and decided that he wanted to go live in Europe again. And so he got hired as an elementary school principal on a U.S. Army base in Baumholder, Germany, which is near Ramstein Air Force Base, and through Department of Defense schools. And so it was a super awesome experience to be able to go all over Europe growing up and get some super awesome experiences. And then we're, after 2 years, ready to move back to America. So we moved to Roseburg, Oregon, which is about 2 hours south of Eugene. And after 2 years there, we moved back to Utah, and my older brother Spencer got to choose where we were going to live. So my dad got hired in Provo, and Spencer went to a ton of open gyms all over Provo, Lone Peak, Pleasant Grove, and we almost settled in Springville. And then American Fork was his last open gym, and then go meet the coach and everything. And he was like, "Dad, I want to do Springville. That's where we want to be." My dad made him go to American Fork for the last one, and he loved it and decided that's where we were going to be. So he got to choose our future.
Did you play ball in Europe while you were there?
Yeah, but I was third and fourth grade. So
how tall were you?
I don't remember that specifically. I think the youngest I remember was sixth grade. I was 6 foot in sixth grade.
Oh my gosh.
So
no, Jaycee, don't look at me. Just ask the next question.
Hey, when were you 6 feet? What age did you get that number?
Okay, you want to hear a really bad story? Okay, I'm gonna interrupt this. We're at Lagoon. You ever been to Lagoon?
Yeah.
It's the worst place in the world. Everybody hates
fit on
Lagoon.
any rides.
It's a crappy place with crappy customer service.
If he
Hey, stay quiet. I'm telling a story. All right? No, okay, so there we are. Freshman year, I'm not 6 foot. But we're going to ride the rocket ride, all right?
Oh, yeah.
It was just coming out. It was a big deal. I'm standing next to, like, my major crush. I'm like, we're going to go on this ride together. It's going to be true love. Then we're going to get, it's going to be awesome. Get up to the front. Girl goes on. I'm about to go up, and he goes, oh, sir, hold on. Stand right here. And there's that stupid, like, plastic bleeping statue. And it's like, how tall are you? And I was, like, 2 inches short. He goes, oh, I'm sorry. You cannot go on the ride. You're too short. And I was like, are you serious? Like, just let me get on. They're like, no, you're too short. It's unsafe. Like, that's the dumbest thing ever. So I'm walking back, right? And someone's like, hey, did you go? I'm like, oh, yeah, I loved it. It was awesome. And they're like, he was too short. I've never been to Lagoon since. I'll never go again.
I'm sorry for that experience.
No, you're not. You're laughing.
No.
I don't care. Anyways, yeah, so there's my short experience.
Hi, this is Karen Nielsen with Guild Mortgage in Logan, Utah. Beyond great rates, we're committed to ongoing customer service even after your loan closes. We want you to experience knowledge, communication, and amazing customer service for a lasting relationship. Make Guild Mortgage your trusted partner.
Oh, you were just waiting for it, weren't you?
Look, we got the guy that's too tall to get on, the guy that's too short to get on, and we got the guy in the middle that's just right. I go right everything. And I do like the rocket. Hey, let's go see if we can pull some strings and get you on now.
Can you be like, hey, my name's Jaycee Carroll.
No.
I don't even know who that is.
No one cares. No one knows who that is anymore. Awesome. So you guys was settled in American Fork.
Oh, yeah.
Are you guys cowboys? I see you wearing cowboy boots all the time.
I like to say that I am a
Urban cowboy?
yeah, pretty much, yeah. I like going out and doing, like, last summer, my buddy, he's got a few head of cattle, and he manages some ranches. So I went and we herded cattle and
Sweet.
did stuff with him, but it's like I'm doing basketball. So my goal is to have, like, a hobby farm, to become financially free and be able to have a hobby farm.
I like it.
And breed miniature horses, because that makes sense.
Hey, look at you guys. You'd be hanging out forever. Making me pot.
Not with miniature horses. What's this gonna do?
Hey, I'm bringing my cow over. You guys want to ride the cow and the horse?
I gotta get a horse Ajay can ride on.
There you go. I'll buy
It's got to be a My Little Pony.
one that's closer to the ground.
Yeah.
I hate you guys. That's dumb. This is what I reckon we had Gary on.
Oh, yeah. All right, so Lone Peak, what did your team do? Did you guys win any state tournaments? Were you
American
guys...
Fork. Can't say Lone Peak.
That's
That's
like, I was going to say, man,
that is
getting the wrong word on us, man.
Our last guest was at Lone Peak. All right, so American Fork, what did you guys do basketball-wise?
So my freshman year, I kind of bounced between varsity JV. We had Brendan Bailey, Thurl Bailey's son, and Spencer Johnson, BYU's finest this last year, my older brother.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And they were both seniors, and so I got to experience kind of being around them and seeing their leadership and how they did it. We lost in the semifinals to Yoli Childs and Bingham, who ended up winning it. My sophomore year and junior year, we did not make it even to the tournament.
Okay.
And so it was rough. And my coach and athletic department, they parted ways. But, I mean, Doug Meacham, great coach, and he's won championships since down in St. George. So that's awesome. I'm proud of him doing that. And then we hired Ryan Cuff, who was at Dixie High School, and he brought his son Tanner, who plays at Evansville in Indiana now.
Under Dave Ragland, former assistant at Utah State. Dave Ragland used to coach at Utah State as an assistant.
Oh, yeah. He's the head coach there.
Yes.
Yeah, Rags. So we had Trey Stewart, who plays for BYU, Hayden Franson, who plays for Cornell, me, who went to Oregon, and then Tanner Cuff, Evansville, and then Noah Moyaki, who's on the BYU football team. That was our starting five.
Cool.
So, it's,
That would have beat your starting five.
random public high school with some awesome talent.
You're forgetting that my random high school had me on the team. That's the X factor. That's the key. So you guys won that year?
Yeah, we did.
Good.
For the first time
Who'd you beat?
40 years.
That's awesome.
Pleasant Grove. They got us twice earlier in the season, in region, and then state championship we pulled it off.
Is American Fort 6A or 5A?
6A. Yeah.
Is Lone Peak, so Lone Peak's in your guys' class?
Yeah,
because they used to run.
They used to
go there.
Yeah, and then my senior year, we made sure that their dynasty did not continue.
Thank goodness, someone had to shut that thing down.
Oh yeah. So they had some good players. Jackson Pollard, who's at Queens in North Carolina.
Wow.
And yeah, so they got some good players throughout the years. But
that's really great.
Year.
2019 was your year.
Yeah.
All right. So then, right after high school, what'd you do coming out of high school?
I went on a mission.
Where'd you go?
Columbus, Ohio.
I went to Cleveland.
Really?
Yeah.
No shot. That's awesome.
I started in Youngstown.
That's me too.
It was murder capital.
Youngstown was my first area.
It was murder capital of USA when I was there.
You know?
The place was ghetto. I can see why Calhoun was like, yes, Logan's safe.
So, yeah, it's awesome. Actually, fun story. So my first area is Youngstown State. And that was the first time, and for our mission anyways, that missionaries had been specifically assigned to Youngstown State. And my first P day, my first off day, we get one a week. I walked in to the coach's offices, and I was like, hey, I'm going to go play for Oregon. I was wondering if I could come in here on my off days and shoot around or come to open gym. And Coach Calhoun said it right there. He said, yeah, we'd love it. Come on in. You know, the gym's open. You can use it. So
no kidding.
Yeah, I met Coach, and it was just like, it's been a full circle moment. So excited for him to be here with his family. And he walked in the offices on that first day and was like, Isaac, you remember me?
Oh,
it was super good.
Stop it.
I'm excited about
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really great.
Former Skyview quarterback and Utah State football walk-on, Ted Stokes has established the #1 bankruptcy law firm in the state of Utah. Stokes Law's playbook is helping individuals and businesses overcome tough financial situations. If you're facing garnishment, repossession, foreclosure, or just overwhelming debt, give Stokes Law a call at 435-213-4771 or visit their website, stokesbankruptcy.com. Stokes Law is a debt relief agency and provides guidance under the United States Bankruptcy Code.
Completely unexpected.
Yeah, for sure.
Went on a mission, life went good. How did you make the decision to go to Oregon? You were being recruited by a lot of different places, I'm sure. Yeah. If Oregon's on the list, what were some of those schools that recruited you?
So BYU, Utah, Stanford, Ohio State, and Oregon are my top 6.
Okay, now why, being so close, why not BYU? Why not Utah?
BYU was going through the end of Coach Rose, and I wasn't sure who was going to be next. University of Utah, it came down between my top 3 was Ohio State, Oregon, and Utah. So I got to Ohio State on my visit there, and as soon as we touched down on campus, this is kind of a spiritual moment, but I had a feeling that this is not your place to play. In those exact words. And when I opened my mission call later, that after the season had ended, I knew exactly why. Because if I had gone to play there, I would not have been able to go on my mission there. So that was a really cool experience. And then I actually got to serve on campus on Ohio State for a little bit and talk to some of the players who I'd been on visit with. It was cool. So it was an awesome experience.
Oh, gosh, Isaac.
But between Oregon and Utah, looking back on it now, Utah makes the most sense and it's the most logical. But Oregon had a lot of bling and a lot of money, and it looked so appealing.
I feel nice.
And so I wasn't... my parents, I think, did a really good job of allowing me to choose my life. They helped lead me and guide me as best as they could and answer questions where I had them. But they understood that I was the one that had to live there and play there. Mm-hmm. And so they did a really good job of answering questions and allowing me to kind of be a captain of my destiny. And so I went to the temple, and I had a lot of different pros and cons lists and prayed about it a lot of times and settled on Oregon. And it was a really good learning experience for me. It taught me a lot.
Can you tell us just a little bit about that learning experience playing at Oregon?
Yeah. So it was a really cool spot. Eugene is the biggest thing going on is University of Oregon.
Yeah.
Specifically the football team, which is funny enough, majority of what they showed me on my visit was a lot of the football stuff. look at how amazing all this is that the University of Oregon has. And it was pretty awe-inspiring until I figured out that 75% of it was not accessible to the basketball team. So that was kind of a bummer. But I got there, and it was really cool. All the Nike and the opportunities that you can have through playing basketball anywhere are really cool at the University of Oregon, especially with that Nike connection is awesome. So I met Phil Knight, and I met a lot of other guys that have been big in the development of one of the biggest athletic apparel brands in the world. So that was really awesome. But I kind of was able to learn that after high school, basketball is a business. And as much as people would like to always say that, like, coaches have the best intention for their players and players have the best intention for their teammates, it's not reality. It's not reality. Basketball is a business, and players are the means by which coaches get their paycheck. And so I kind of learned that up front. They treated me well, and they were nice, but I wasn't performing where I needed to be performing. And so, as happens in basketball, if you're not doing as good as you should be or are expected to be, you're not going to be playing. And it also kind of then trickled down to, like, I don't want to put this, not necessarily treated poorly off the court, but kind of neglected. Like, for example, there was one time I was going to practice, and the main 7 guys were there a lot earlier than practice was started. Practice, let's say, started at 12:30, and I was going into the gym at 12:10 because I was rushing over from class. But the main 7 guys were there, and so they just started practice. And so the rest of us were, like, trickling in, trying to, get in, but the guys who we actually need are...
The head coach is there.
Yeah, so all the coaches are there, and so the guys who we actually need are here, so we're just going to start practice, because the guys, the supporting cast, they'll be here eventually. And so that was, like, kind of a...
Unheard of.
Yeah.
But that's weird. I've never heard that anywhere. Like that. That's weird.
It was a little odd.
Like that. I've never heard of that. I've never seen that.
Yeah.
That's very much very unique to what your experience was, I think.
Yeah, it's kind of a bummer. But it taught me a lot, and kind of that I wanted to take charge again of my own destiny and not just take a back seat.
You're looking for the best place to grab yourself a pizza and, of course, entertainment? Look no further than Ruby's Pizzeria and Grill at 795 East, 1400 North. Ruby's Pizzeria and Grill has your salads, delicious pastas, creative pizzas, all that including watching some good games on TV with your buddies. Ruby's Pizzeria and Grill also has a Thursday through Saturday, 9 p.m. to midnight menu. That's right, 9 p.m. to midnight, Thursday through Saturday, you get the delectable items. Our producer, Adam Lurcher, and myself went there. Well, Adam had the chicken fingers. So I had this beautifully made gourmet hot dog with a delicious pretzel bun wrapped around it. Most importantly, Ruby's Pizzeria and Grill has the best customer service. Their employees were there to take good care of you, led by their manager, Thad Willis. So stop by Ruby's Pizzeria and Grill and let them know that the Unequaled podcast sent you there. 795 East, 1400 North in Logan.
I learned kind of something this year also with making my decision to stay, is that if you are a fence sitter, you just get what you're given. So you need to take a stand on either side. So I decided this year to take a stand and stay at Utah State, and then I decided that I needed to do something with my future. And so as soon as the season ended, I hit the transfer portal and talked to my coaches, and they understood it was a rough year. There was a lot of personalities on that team that were conflicting, and it was a crazy year. We ended up with 20 wins and made it to the second round of the NIT, but it was rough. It was crazy. And my coaches, they understood. And at least I could still talk to them, and I'll invite them to my wedding. And they're good guys. I really appreciate what they did for me, and they supported me all throughout my mission. Came and visited me, took me out to Texas Roadhouse, and they're good guys. But basketball is a business, especially that high level. And so then I decided I wanted to be at a place where I was loved and needed, not just liked and wanted.
Yeah.
And so my top 3 from there was University of Utah, BYU, and Utah State. And so I kind of decided I'd done Pac-12 already, and I didn't want to go back to Utah and do that again. And then BYU, I had the opportunity to play with my brother.
Yeah.
And that would have been super awesome. But Coach Odom and Utah State, Logan, it was after going through kind of a traumatic year, I realized that other people are going to put their priorities first. And so that's what I needed to do when making my next decision, was to put my priorities first in being at a place where I was needed and loved. And Utah State was the place.
Well, that's cool. And I mean, it's too bad you had to have some of those experiences and that you had to come to the conclusion that college basketball is a business at such a young age, because, you know, I was lucky enough that I never necessarily felt that way. Now, I wasn't dumb to the fact that my coach's livelihood depended on me competing and doing well. Spencer Nelson once told me the scary, when he was coaching as an assistant coach up here, one of the scariest things you ever do is put your livelihood in the hands of 17, 18, 19-year-old boys, young men, and hope that they execute what you're trying to do and win games. Because it is ultimately, if you win games, you stay forever. If you lose games, they'll move on from you.
Yep.
So it's just too bad you had to kind of have that experience as such a, you know, as a freshman year. That's too bad. You came to Utah State. By all accounts, from everything we saw yesterday, you are beloved here. They like you.
Gosh,
They like the fish.
I appreciate it. That's something I learned even before, even my redshirt year. I felt it. So I love it here.
What do you think you do that makes the fans so drawn to you and excited to cheer for you?
I think the nickname and the big fish clap, the gator. But no, it's the rebranded, the big fish clap. So I think that has had a really bigger impact than I realized. Just like something that people can automatically tag to me and take part in and be included with. It's like, it's more natural for me to hear fish, like for people to call me fish.
Where did it come from? Like, I just, like, where did fish come? Because I've heard it, and so, like, I get called Juice all the time up there at Utah State, because I was, mine started, like, when I was in 6th grade. I was sleeping at a friend's house, and I never drank glasses of milk. I always wanted orange juice. But nobody could pronounce my name right, so he just started calling me Juice.
There you go.
And then I was at my freshman year in basketball. Kirk Hilliard, coach at Skyview. I swear I couldn't say my name right. I was like, hey, just call me Juice. And he goes, Juice, all right. Then I went to radio. That's how it was. I went to Utah State. They called me Juice up there, like Steve Wiley. You know, yeah, it just. So how did yours, Fish, become Fish?
So 7th grade. I'm a little tentative to tell like the full story.
I want the full. I mean, come on, it's unequal.
So as young middle schoolers, swearing was not cool. And so we came up with filler words for swear words. And fish was one of them. And it's not the F word, but fish was one of them. And me and this one kid, we were the only two that knew like what each filler word meant. But everybody else heard us calling each other fish. And so they thought it was just like a fun nickname. And he was like 5'4", in 7th grade, I'm 6'3". And so he's little fish and I'm big fish. And so it just stuck. So everyone just called me Big Fish, either IJ or Big Fish.
Wait, or what was it?
IJ, just my initials.
Isaac Johnson.
Oh, so IJ. But then, at Oregon, it wasn't really a thing, so they just called me Isaac. And then I came here, and it was a lot better situation. Like everybody loved each other, and it was fun nicknames and stuff like that. And we already had an RJ, Idle Rock, and so you couldn't call me IJ; it was too close. And so they asked me a nickname, and I just said, high school they called me Big Fish. And then I played in the Powder League that summer down in Salt Lake, and my buddy Trey Stewart, who plays BYU, he was there, and I was down there with Taylor Funk and Sean Bairstow, and Trey walks up, he's like, Big Fish, how you doing? And they're like, you're serious? They actually call you that? I'm like, yeah. So it stuck from there. They call me Fish, write it up on the whiteboard in the middle of a timeout, San Diego State game. It's an F for fish, you know? So it's, you know, it works and it's stuck, and I'm embracing it. I'm loving the marketing. So I love it.
You gotta trademark that, man. I call them. I'm like, hey, big fish, it's Finding Nemo. It's like,
I was like,
Oh my goodness.
yeah, it didn't go so well. Didn't land.
Wow. Well, so you talk about things that set you apart in marketing. How high up on that list of importance do you think the mustache puts you? It is simple. He's got this.
You can
mustache.
fill it off.
If you're talking about
Really well.
if you're talking about The Office, there's an episode where they try to grow mustaches. The whole office.
Oh
does.
yeah. Let's.
And there's two interns.
That's a bad.
They grow these little pencil thin mustaches. And I'm not saying Isaac's may or may not look something like that.
When he's got like this sweat hair and like you see that, it's honestly intimidating. Like he's got the mustache, you got the hair like almost to his eyes, and you're like, I ain't guarding this guy. Like, no way.
you saw Grant Nelson in Alabama, long hair and a mustache. It's playful right now, you know.
It's in for a few very specific individuals. I think it fits your persona. I think it's all right. All right. Oh, you set you apart.
My sister-in-law, we were talking about it the other day, and she was like, oddly enough, you actually pull it off. Mustache, like, actually kind of works, oddly enough. I'm like, thank you. I appreciate it.
Talk to us about your first year under Odom. There's the team chemistry. You seem to be really, really good. I mean, we'd see you guys on the bench. I'd be sitting right there courtside watching over, and you guys were just had all these great cheers and, just a lot of fun. Yeah. Talk about your first year under Odom and then the transition from Odom leaving to getting Sprinkle and that whole walkthrough.
Okay. So I chose Ryan Odom and his staff because they seemed like a perfect fit moving forward in Utah State. It was just like a great combination. I was so excited to come here. But the reason I decided to redshirt, a lot of people had this question. It had to do definitely with a little bit of my skill level, just sitting for so long on the bench at Oregon. You can do as many workouts as you want, but sometimes being neglected and feeling that sort of loss of confidence first off, and then second off, just needing to work the rust off. So that was that for my redshirt year. But majority of it was my mental health. And so I've kind of talked about it a little bit, but I haven't really gone super into depth about it. I kind of was dealing with anxiety with basketball and depression in just my everyday life.
Hey, you looking for something fun to do this summer? How about you go to Bridgeland Adventure Park, located in Garden City, Utah. Bridgeland Adventure Park has all sorts of adventures from ages 2 to 92. A 4-levels ropes course with 73 events, a giant swing, a 450-foot-long zip line, or get on a tube and head down the 350-foot slide. They're also accepting business corporate groups. You and your office want to get out of the daily grind? Sick of staring at your computer for 8 hours a day? Well, bring the company over to Bridgeland Adventure Park. Enjoy some delicious food, a snow cone, a fun time with your coworkers, and lasting memories. Bridgeland Adventure Park is located at 722 South First Light Drive in Garden City, Utah. For more information and questions, go to blap.rocks. That's BLAP.rocks.
And I feel like a lot of times it's not something that's taboo to talk about. But I'm completely comfortable, and I'll be completely honest and open about it. So I was just not happy in life, and coming off a mission with COVID that threw a wrench in everything that I thought was normal.
Sure did. Yeah.
And feeling like it was like a whole new world that we had to discover, be the pioneers of. And then going to Oregon, and it was a rough situation there, kind of socially. I had some good friends, but they were not members of the church, and it was drinking and partying, and I was like trying to figure out how to keep my values intact while everybody around me was doing everything. And I just was like struggling, and I was ready to be back in Utah with some people that shared my same values. And I was dealing with a lot mentally that I hadn't really talked about, and I just bottled it all up. And it got to a point where sometimes I'd step on the court and I would be like, if I rolled my ankle right now and was out for a couple weeks, I'd be okay with that. Mm-hmm. Which is like, that's kind of scary. You know, dealing with, like, if I got hurt right now, I wouldn't be that bad because I wouldn't have to play. It's like, that's kind of crazy. And so I wanted to be at a place where I enjoyed playing basketball again. And because I knew that I did before, I knew, like, how fun it was and the connections and memories that it created for me in the past. And I also didn't know what else I'd do with my life. I'd probably go work on the farm, you know, or something. So I was like, this is probably the best thing for me to do. I need to be healthy. And so I took that redshirt year as a way to get healthy. And Utah State and Ryan Odom, their staff did a fantastic job of allowing me to work through some of those kinks. And Sprinkle and his staff, they did a really good job of that as well. Sometimes I'd have rough days, and they told me, if you're having these type of days, come over, just tell us, you know, you're having, I'm kind of going through it a little bit today, and we understand. Obviously, that's I'm not somebody that I want to use it as an excuse to be soft.
No, sure.
You know, and so I don't want it to change people's perception of me, because I'm still a normal guy. I like to think I'm not too weird. And it's just something that happens. And so I've been working to be healthy again. And I feel like I have found a place in basketball that I enjoy playing basketball. And Utah State and Cache Valley are a place where I feel like I belong and am wanted and needed. And that's something that feels amazing.
By the way, just... like, I know that's hard to share what you just did. Jaycee and I did a mental health episode 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. And, I mean, it was hard to open up, I mean, for me at least, like, just to be, because I'm so prideful and I'm so private. I'm extremely private about my life, you know, everything that's going on. But, you know, I went through that too. And it's like the whole mental health, you know, situation. And what you just shared is very beyond understanding for a lot of people who just see you as a basketball player. But it's good to see that, you know, you're human too. I think for a lot of us to know who Isaac Johnson is off the court and what you go through on and off the court. And so, but personally, just want to tell you, thank you for sharing that. That's not easy right there.
I appreciate that. And that's awesome of you to be able to open up and share that too.
Yeah, but
hopefully it's not easy.
But see, and I say this respectfully to myself, but I mean, I'm just a radio guy. Like, we're talking about a well-known athlete in the state of Utah, a well-known athlete around the country, a very loved athlete here at Utah State. They see you as Fish, right? They see the guy on the court, awesome hair, you know, mustache, you know, jump shots left and right, but they don't see Isaac Johnson off the court. And, like, maybe there's days you went home and you're like, I don't know if I want to go play tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like, and that's what I think people, like, who are dealing with mental health need to hear, that student athletes are human and they have those emotions. They have those doubts. They have those senses of, like, maybe I'm failing at what I'm doing, or maybe I'm not wanted, but yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, there's a lot more people than you think that they're dealing with those kinds of things.
Yeah.
So it's good that you share. I think it gives hope to people that are struggling with some of those things.
100%.
I think it gives them a sense of, hey, there's light at the end of the tunnel. Like what this guy was doing a year ago. Then look, I see him on the NCAA tournament doing the fish sign to the crowd, everyone cheering. I think it could give hope to a lot of people. So I agree. Thank you for sharing. Mental health, it's something that's talked about more today than it's been.
For sure.
It's a muscle that can be exercised, can be strengthened.
Big time.
But it won't be exercise strength if we don't talk about it, if we don't put emphasis in it. So, everyone, take a lesson out of this. Take what you need to do to be able to get yourself on track where you need to be, and understand there's things that can help. Ajay talked about it a couple weeks ago. I shared a few experiences, but there's help out there for those types.
Like, people talked about you a lot. Like, people come to be like, man, I know Jaycee Carroll went through that, and they said, I'm like, not only did he go through it, he went through it overseas. Like, you were in Spain playing and dealing with that, like calling your dad overseas and being like, dude, I'm having a rough time. I mean, I was at least home in Cache Valley. So I got to ask you, Isaac, I mean, for you, for me, it was like a small circle. You were able to call your dad. I developed a very extremely small circle of people I could talk to. Luke Lofthouse is one of them, him and his wife, where I can just go to. Like, what was your process of dealing with that mental health? Did you develop a group? Like, what did you do to help deal with it and cope with it?
So first off, I want to give a little shout out to the staff at Utah State, Ryan Odom and his staff, specifically our trainer, Leah.
Sure. She's great.
She's such a sweetheart.
She's great.
And then also to Rylan Jones, Landon Brenchley, Mason Falslev, Taylor Funk, like those guys on the team. Because although I felt like I was struggling with my self-confidence and just motivation to get out of the house, they invited me to do things all the time. And I felt wanted, and it gave me that much more motivation to, like, they want me to be there. And it's like, not just like, hey, a chore to invite fish, you know? And so they've made me feel wanted and made me feel loved, even when sometimes I was probably a little bit of a Debbie Downer. And it's just like, it made me feel loved, and it just like gave me so much support. And then on top of it, I talked to a counselor on campus. And so that helped me a lot, just work through all sorts of different stuff. There's a lot of things that I didn't realize, like moving to Germany in my childhood would have effects on me, but we, talked through those things. And having some sort of popularity with basketball in high school, but not feeling like I was recognized enough. Yeah. And then how I then sometimes would put on a bit of a fake facade.
Oh, yeah.
And seemed like sometimes I had to be a bit of a jerk because people didn't realize who I was. And so I got to make them realize who I am. And it was like, I had to work through a lot. And so now I want to be a good guy that's super happy, and basketball is something I do, but it's not who I am.
So could I ask, are you genuinely happy here in Logan at Utah State?
I actually, at the beginning of the season, I still was working through stuff, and right now I can honestly say that I am genuinely happy.
Get me to feel this way. I think I'll be coming home. It's been such a long time. Oh, I think I might have made one too many a mistake. If you help me find my way,